Thank you very much, Virat. Thank you, Mr. Advani. Thank you, Nisha, for putting together this wonderful engagement. Thank you, Ambassador Sandhu, for your very enlightening comments, giving an overview of the India-US relationship. My compliments to the people of the United States for the new administration, which is now firmly in place, tackling issues of urgency like the COVID pandemic. We look forward to working very closely with the new administration to strengthen our ever-expanding ties in a variety of areas. We have worked with successive Republican and Democratic administrations, particularly over the last 2 decades, and established a very strong and multifaceted relationship. It touches every part of human existence. However, as Ambassador Sandhu rightly said, we need to further our trade and economic engagement with greater degree of flexibility on both sides and with an open mind and open heart, understanding each other's imperatives, sensitivities, and I have no doubt in my mind that we shall be successful in these endeavors in the days to come. India has been reasonably successful in its fight against COVID. We are working with the US administration also, exchanging ideas, working on broad contours of greater engagement even on the healthcare sphere. And I'm sure we'll be able to, all of us, overcome the COVID pandemic in the very near future. Trade between India and US have grown exponentially, but still leave a lot to be desired. We had set I thought, a very modest target of $500 billion, but we've had a little bit of a setback over a couple of years. I do hope both of us continue to engage with this ambitious target in our bilateral trade partnership. And towards that end, we in India have gone through a series of liberalization steps. The current budget has been well received internationally as well as in India. One specific ask of the US to increase the FDI limit in insurance has been accepted. We shall now have 74% permitted through the automatic route in insurance. Of course, I do hope we'll see some fresh capital coming in and not people just selling old stakes and upping the foreign investors' stake, because the purpose of increasing the FDI caps was really to help the insurance companies grow in India. We have also opened up the defense sector, mining sector, the capital markets, a series of reform measures, labor reform, agri-reform, all of them put together, I believe will open up opportunities for American companies to grab some low-hanging fruits. I will also engage with the new USTR to try and put together a fresh package. I think the old one is now off the table. We'll have to all look afresh at different ideas and see how our engagement in the future can really course correct some of the problems that we've seen in the past and prepare both the countries to meet the needs of our people. India provides 1 billion people underserved aspirational market. It's a huge potential. But at the same time, we'll have to look at a fair dealing in our engagement. The US is a large economy, a very technologically advanced economy, high per capita incomes, and I do hope the sensitivities of an economy emerging out of the shadows, wanting to give a better quality of life to its people, increase our per capita incomes, will be kept in mind as we expand our engagement between the two countries. Ambassador Sandhu rightly said that we have much more to this relationship than trade, but as democracies wanting to give a better future to our people, I can assure you we have a lot of synergy in our thinking. The new administration has rejoined the Paris Agreement. I'm delighted to hear that. And in my engagement with the Secretary of State, John Kerry, the new climate envoy of the United States tomorrow, I shall be picking up on our earlier engagements to see how US and India can work together towards a global effort to protect the world from climate change, from pollution, and from future problems if we do not address these issues now. I also look forward to rekindle our institutional mechanism for trade, the Trade Policy Forum, and our commercial dialogue to deepen this relationship through continuous engagements. Together, we can achieve a lot. I do invite businesses in the US to look at India as a manufacturing base from where you can serve a large Indian market and also serve global markets through cost competitive products, goods, and services in this new post-COVID world with work from home and greater degree of technology-based solutions to day-to-day working. I think India offers a great opportunity for American companies to cut costs, become more competitive, and work in the true spirit of collaboration that we are promising and which we offer to all of you. There are a lot of success stories of American companies. I'm happy to engage with more companies in smaller groups going forward to resolve issues on a real-time basis. I'm also happy to allow Invest India to have an US-India specific desk about which I'm open to ideas. I leave it to Nisha now to take forward the engagement with an assurance that you have an open door in India, walk in at the earliest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Minister, and thank you for those remarks and setting the scene, setting the agenda for the U.S.-India corridor. I know you have an engagement that you have to go to, but I thought if you might indulge us in just one or two questions, I know that people would be very keen to hear from you on that. You talked about the fact that we need to start afresh on the trade issues between our two countries. And I know that much time has been spent over the last couple of years trying to negotiate the mini agreement. And many thought that mini agreement might pave the way towards more ambition and more confidence in a larger set of issues. Do you think now that perhaps some of those smaller issues, even absent an agreement, might still be addressed? And what is the larger ambition that you seek on the U.S.-India trade relationship?
Well, I think the last time around when we were discussing, we were nitpicking with very, very small issues and changing the goalposts in every subsequent conversation. I do hope this time around we can look at the big picture. While, of course, some of the issues which we were able to resolve can still be brought on the table. But I do think that we have to look beyond that. We have to sort out some of the issues which are much more relevant to a larger engagement and leave some of the small things which earlier were kind of deal breakers and therefore were a lot of management bandwidth or political bandwidth was going on the very small issues. I think we need to leave those aside and move into the orbit of a much greater engagement, given the fact that we complement each other. We are hardly a competition to each other. The US has a lot to offer in terms of technology, finance, in terms of innovation, whereas we in India have a large market which we need to serve, but also obviously provide jobs to a large number of people, protect people in agriculture, protect people from low quality products coming in from certain geographies, but at the same time cannot afford to increase the price to very exorbitant levels. So like earlier we were talking of 5G, while of course we would like to engage much more with the US on 5G, but because the competition is not there, if the 5G valuation or cost become exorbitant, then India will not be in a position to accept those costs. So I think the US will have to be very sensitive to price points in India, which matter to an emerging economy with millions of people just coming out of poverty.
Indeed, Mr. Minister, I think there's certainly going to be a lot of attention paid to where the win-wins are on the U.S.-India corridor and how the two countries can try to maximize and create collaboration and complementarity. One area that I know is an area of growing focus is on the digital economy. We have seen through COVID the rapid scale-up and adoption of digital technology and digital commerce. What are the ways in which the U.S. and India can align and create complementarity in their approaches in growing the digital economy, particularly in the face of stiff competition coming from around the world? And how do we take forward in a way that highlights the trusted partnership and relationship between our two countries on sensitive issues of data and technology use to actually build the digital corridor between our two countries?
Well, we are very keen to expand on the digital space with the US. However, we would be conscious of our responsibility to the people of India for data privacy. We are concerned about big corporations holding a lot of data of our citizens, often using them for cross businesses or across their different sectors. And the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has already put forth our first data privacy law, which is in public domain, which is being debated in the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Many US companies have also made presentations before that committee. But at the same time, Nisha, there are a lot of concerns about the behavior of big tech companies, including American companies. And India would like to protect its policy space. And India would like to express its concerns about some of these big tech giants not willing to adhere to the law of the land and to the social fabric that we value very much in India. So it would be important that organizations like USIBC play a responsible role in also getting large American companies to respond to India, the laws of India, and as I said, the sensitivities around our social fabric, because otherwise that could become an impediment to expanding this partnership on the digital technology front.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. And as you know, one of the things that we have recommended as a way to engage on these important issues in the digital corridor is the creation and the elevation of a U.S.-India digital dialogue, where both the opportunities as well as the need to address and perhaps harmonize our approaches on privacy and governance and cybersecurity can be addressed. And we look forward to seeing how the government of India and the U.S. government take that forward. Perhaps if I can end with one final question, you've addressed the need for collaboration on climate and clean technology. We've talked about data. The other major area, of course, as we are emerging from this COVID pandemic, is the collaboration opportunities between our two countries in health and life sciences, and particularly how we address the importance of that trusted supply chain as we look at pharmaceuticals and medical devices that can help address the growing needs in our two countries and around the world. So if I could perhaps leave you with that final question on the opportunity in the health field, and then we will go to our panel.
Thank you, Nisha. In fact, we have upped the budget on healthcare very significantly this time around. We have also decided to invest very large amounts of money over the next 4 or 5 years on the Jal Jeevan mission. That's the target to to ensure piped, clean drinking water to every home in rural India and urban India. We'll be investing nearly $80 billion, both between rural and urban India, half-half, to ensure that everybody gets good quality water, because we do realize that water is probably the source of a lot of the illness that we face in India. The health sector is going to be a focus area. We plan to have nearly 200,000 wellness centers across the country, upgrade our hospitals, expand our medical education, expand the skill sets of our nurses and medical technicians. We do believe India is already recognized as, in some sense, a pharmacy of the world. We provide a lot of generic medicines at affordable costs to large parts of the world. Some of your American pharma companies are unhappy about our desire not to allow evergreening of pharma products. When they change the molecule a little bit and they call it a new innovation, want a very high price for that. Now, you're fine to do that in the US, where you have a $50,000 per capita income. Probably you can afford to spend millions and billions of dollars in your healthcare system. We in India are providing free healthcare to 500 million people in India. 500 million people. The world's largest free healthcare program. We have a per capita income under $2,000. And therefore our health costs to our people have to be kept very affordable. I do hope American companies will recognize this reality, including your medical devices companies, and rather than trying to push through small tinkering of technologies which don't really impact the medical efficacy of treatment or cure, but are more in terms of your ability to keep high prices intact. Let's not make that a deal breaker in our engagement between the US and India, because that has been a bone of contention for many years. I do hope your pharma companies, your medical devices companies see the writing on the wall, see the reality of a 2,000 per capita income country and a 50,000 per capita income company competing with each other. And if you recognize that reality, possibly we could help you make your healthcare more affordable and ensure that Americans get better quality medicines at affordable prices in the future. Let's work in that spirit of partnership. While we welcome innovation, welcome R&D, but it should be truly of something which is of big, innovative, significant, game-changing nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Minister. Thank you for joining us and having that conversation.